Hi everyone, I'm Todd Knock. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So for today's art video, we are continuing with the X-Men group shot. Just a few more X-Men left, and today, Gambit and Rogue. So let's put some colors on these characters. Let's turn the camera around and break out the Copics. Alright, so last video we colored Bishop and Dazzler. So we're going to slide Gambit and Rogue into frame here. Going to break out the Copic markers, and I'm going to call out Copic codes while I color, and I'll also list them here in the video in the bottom left hand corner as well. So let's start with gosh, which character do we start with, because they kind of overlap here. We'll do the skin tones for each, so because we're going to use similar skin tones for both. So starting with the E00, these characters are getting smaller and smaller the further we move into the background. So the detail is going to lessen just a bit the further back we go, just because of the nature of the size of the figures and the faces. We can only get so much detail in there reasonably. So we're going to just get this E00 in for a base shade. Let's come in with some E01 next. Just a little bit of a darker shade. Just here on the opposite side of our light source for the most part. So some E01. Going to bring in a little bit of the R11 for some rosiness. Just a little rosy on the nose. Super subtle. Going to give Gambit a little rosiness right through there. A little bit on the cheek and chin. So some R11 right there. Now let's go with Gambit's hair. We're going to go with some E15 to start with. Starting dark and working our way lighter, so some E15. Like with other characters, pulling from the root of the hair outwards. So that was E15, now some E13. And blending that E15 into that white area. Leaving a little white at the very end as a little bit of highlight detail. As you can see right there. Have a little bit of white left. Just a subtle thing. Now let's go with Rogue's hair. Let's come in with some E25. We're going to do the brown parts of her hair first. So with each chunk of curls, I'm leaving a little teeny tiny bit of white. Not a lot of white, because we can only get so much detail in here at this size, as mentioned earlier. But the closer we are to the base of the hair, or where the hair falls towards the jacket, we're going to have more concentrated color for an illusion of shadow. Let's come in with some E8 and 9, just for a few really dark spots. It's a really dark shade of brown, so I'm not going to use a lot. Just a little bit. Just like that. Now similarly, how we handled Storm's hair, going to do the same process here as well. That same kind of whitish, bluish, grayish color. So starting with some B00. Don't need a lot, because we want most of her hair here at this size and stage to look more white than anything, but we do want a little bit of sculpted color. Now a little bit of Cool Gray 2. And that'll take care of Rogue's white streak. Now let's color some jackets. Gonna go with E84 for Gambit's jacket. No, let me test this out on a separate sheet. So that's what we get with an E84, but the E55 gives this shade, yes. So actually the E84 is more of a Rogue jacket color, where the E55 is more of a tan and better for Gambit. So sometimes it's good to do a little test on a separate sheet of paper to make sure you're choosing the right colors. If you're in doubt, always do a little test mark on a separate sheet of paper and see, is that the color I really want to use? Is it really going to allow me what I want? Because it really stinks to throw the color down and realize, oh no, that was the wrong shade. Trust me, I've been there, hence the color test. Okay, so not a lot of space here, so not a lot of detail. But just enough, just enough. Probably will not come in with a secondary color, so we'll use more of the cool grays to shadow that out a little bit later. So now let's use that E55 for Gambit's jacket. So we have two different shades here for Gambit's jacket and Rogue's jacket, so they really stand apart from each other. As I said, this is the E55. And we'll come in with the grays for more shadowing a little bit later on, once we get all the base colors down. So no secondary color for this size and shot. Now let's add the yellows to Rogue's uniform. So we're going to go with that Y13. What's in her gloves, in her bodysuit here. Still leaving a little bit of the white of the board for a highlight, not a lot, just a wee little bit wherever possible. And because we have so much space here, I'm going to come in with a little Y21. And let's add some green to Rogue. Need to test out some greens. I often test greens because I really want to make sure I get the right shade of green. That was the YG03, the YG45, which I'm digging. Probably go with that. Let's check out the G02, G05. Of these, I think I'm going to use some G05. Because I feel it best represents the shade that we know of Rogue from the comics and cartoons. Not a lot of spaces here for the green, but definitely worthwhile to test out first. I'm going to bring in a little bit of that YG45. Just noticed Gambit's fingers there on this side here, so just throwing out a little bit of that same E01. All right, now let's color Gambit's uniform. So he wears kind of this magenta colored chest plate, so we'll start with that first with some RV66. And then coming in with some RV13. There we go. And then for the kind of turquoise collar and belt, oh, but you know what? Before we put away those shades, I have a little bit of those same colored stripes there on the side of his pants. Almost missed that detail. So now we're going to come in with some BG09 for the darker shades. And then some BG34 and blend from that color into the white. Now we need to add a little bit of red for Rogue's X-Men patch, little R27. Now we need to color some of the black parts of Gambit's costume. So we're going to come in with some neutral gray 4 for like these gloves. And we're going to use the same neutral gray 4 for Rogue's belt. Neutral gray 4, and then we're going to come in with some neutral gray 6. Just for a little bit of a darker shade. On the opposite sides of the light source. Now let's color his bow staff. I'm going to make it kind of that silver look. So the bead 000 again. Now we're going to go over that B000 with Cool Gray 2. Actually, no, not Cool Gray, Neutral Gray. I was going to do Cool Gray, decided here last minute I wanted to look Neutral Gray. For a silver sort of look. So let's bring in the shadows now. So we're going to start with some Cool Gray 2 for the skin tones. So as we established in all these other videos, the light's coming from above, a little bit from the left, but mostly from above. Use the same Cool Gray 2 through all the yellow sections. Okay. Let's bump it up to a Cool Gray 4. Gonna use it here on Gambit's jacket. On Rogue's jacket. Gambit's chest plate here. And Gambit's hair. See, Gambit's eyes have some red in them, so we're going to use that R27 again for his red eyes. Let's see. Let's come in with some Cool Gray 5 here for the green parts on Rogue's uniform. Maybe a little bit here in her jacket just for a little more pop. Deeper, darker shadows. Maybe a little bit here on Gambit too. And that's Gambit and Rogue. Done and done. So this is a quick one. And we're just 4 X-Men away from finishing up. So let's flip the camera around and sign off. Okay, there we go. Gambit and Rogue added to the group shot. Up next, Havoc from X Factor. That should be fun. So, gang, thanks so much for joining me. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself, having a good time, learning something. If you like what you saw, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment. I appreciate that interaction. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and click subscribe so you don't miss out on future art videos. And if you're on the social media, so am I, and all my links are listed in the video description below. And here's a final shot of the image. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me. Keep on drawing. Keep having fun. See you next time, everybody.